This podcast is for the ones who know they were rescued, but also know they were resent, saved by grace, sent to live different. We're not rebelling against God, we're rebelling against everything that keeps us from Him. We'll talk faith, identity, purpose, leadership, and what it really looks like to follow Jesus in a loud world. Welcome to the Daily Rebel. All right, here we go. Day 5 of the Daily Rebel, deep dive into James chapter 1 through 4. And here is the final verse again, verse 4. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature, complete, and lacking nothing. Those two words are where we're going to camp out today. Lacking nothing. Wherever you are, whether you're on the road right now, at your house, in your office, say those two words, lacking nothing. So, what lacking nothing really means? What is James saying when he says those words? Well, he's not saying you will have everything you want. Don't get it twisted. He is saying you will have everything you need. The word James uses to point to sufficiency and not surplus, wholeness, not excess, completeness, not comfort. And what's crazy is what it reminded me of is David in chapter 23 of Psalms. Is in verse 1, he says, the Lord is my shepherd. And he goes, and I shall not want. That's the CSB that says, I lack nothing. So David echoes the same truth in Psalm 23. So when David says, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want, he's not saying life is easy. He's saying God is enough. A sheep doesn't find what it needs. The shepherd provides what it needs. James and David are saying the same thing. Maturity leads to sufficiency. Trust leads to contentment, and submission leads to security. So I'm going to give y'all 3 points when it comes to lacking nothing. Number 1, write this down. Lacking nothing starts with trusting someone. David doesn't say the Lord is my supplier. He says the Lord is my shepherd. The Lord, this infinite being that we can hardly comprehend, is also intimate. He is our shepherd. It's relational language. This shepherd provides direction. The shepherd provides protection. A shepherd provides presence. If God is your shepherd, you don't have to chase what you need. You see, redeemed rebels don't live anxious lives, man. They live dependent. And that speaks to me, man, because I struggle with anxiety. And really, my anxiety is the anticipation of worst case scenario accompanied with overwhelming heartache. But I need to remind myself, am I dependent upon outcomes that I can't control, or am I dependent upon the shepherd? Because sufficiency is not found in what you have, y'all. It's found in who you follow. So lacking nothing starts with trusting someone, and that someone is Jesus. Number 2, contentment grows with maturity. James connects lacking nothing to maturity. Immature faith asks, why don't I have more? Why don't I have more? Mature faith says, I already have enough. Endurance produces maturity, and maturity produces contentment. And that's why trials are necessary. They strip away false dependencies and teach you what actually sustains you. You don't realize God is enough until everything else isn't. And number 3, provision, it flows from proximity. I'll say it again. Provision flows from proximity. A sheep is safest and most satisfied when it stays close to the shepherd. I'm going to say it again. A sheep is safest and most satisfied when it stays close to the shepherd. Y'all, sheep are stupid. I mean, I remember reading about this group of sheep that were jumping off a cliff because one did it, and eventually hundreds and hundreds of sheep started falling to their death, and eventually a bunch of sheep didn't die because it fell on a big white fluffy pillow. Like sheep, the reason there's a rod and a staff is the rod was meant to, just to knock down the wolves and the lions and to kill them away from getting the sheep. But the staff sometimes not only led the sheep, but also sheep were so dumb they would put their faces in bubbling brooks and almost get swept up into its current. But wandering sheep lack, but submitted sheep don't. Sheep look back at the shepherd before they actually fall, and the shepherd goes after them. But listen, Psalm 23 isn't about abundance. It's about alignment. We need to be aligned with our shepherd. And when you walk with the shepherd, you stop wanting what he never promised. He never promised that everything was going to be easy. I'll say that, but he always promised to be with us. James says maturity leads to completeness. David says closeness leads to contentment. So different words, but the same truth. Again, James says maturity leads to completeness. David says closeness leads to contentment. Different words, same truth. Lacking nothing actually means having everything, because Jesus plus nothing equals everything. It means trusting the one who knows what you need. So here's the Daily Rebel question for today. Are you chasing provision, or are you staying close to the shepherd? Because redeemed rebels don't live in want. They live in trust. And when the Lord is your shepherd, you truly lack nothing. Thanks for listening to the very first week of the Daily Rebel. We'll get back at it this Monday as we continue to dive into the book of James. Love you.